After finding a few potential factories for my top product ideas, I like to do some rough estimates as far as potential profitability. Now, I will say that you don't know for sure how much these products are actually going to cost until you start getting quotes back from the factories, because the prices that you see on Alibaba or other places, there's usually very rough prices, and you're going to make changes this way or that way, which may increase or decrease the price, but it starts to give you a rough ballpark. We can also go ahead and understand things like Amazon's fees right now, and we have some pretty good ways to estimate how much the shipping is going to cost, which those are going to be your main expenses for this particular product, all right? So I'm going to show you the rough way of estimating costs for these products, and then I'll show you the more precise way for estimating costs, but just understand that you don't really know your true numbers until you get an actual shipping quote back and until you get an actual quote back from the factory. The way to determine kind of the rough costs is I like to use the extension to do so. And what you're gonna do here is you want to find a product that's going to be very similar in size and in weight to the product that you would be selling. So if we were going to be selling these exam paper rolls, what I would do is I would click on this net column. All right. So it knows that this weighs 12.9 pounds, that these are the dimensions. I would type in the price that I'd be selling it at. And 26 is a little bit low. What's more normal is like $29.95. All right. So I'm going to add that. It automatically is going to calculate the FBA fees and referral fees. So then after all of Amazon's fees, out of this $30, there's only $15.22 left, okay? So what I can do is I can go into Alibaba and look at a few of the potential factories that I found, and I can start to look at their costs. So $1.30 to $1.35 per piece. Let's do, what was the other one we had was exam table paper rolls. So here I'm seeing 35 cents to $2, $1 to $5, 125 to $2.80, $1 to $3, $80 to $5.80. So you can see there's like a pretty wide range here, right? So 25 cents to $2.35. So it obviously depends on, the length of these and the width and everything else. Just for rough calculation purposes, let's estimate that it's going to cost around $1 per roll, but we're doing 12 rolls per case. So it works out to be $12 per roll. However, it's going to be pretty big and heavy, right? Like this is going to be a case full of these paper rolls. And we know that also because actually when we look back at the profit calculator in here, it says 13 pounds. So we know the product cost alone is going to be about $12 before shipping it from the factory into Amazon. So we have at least 12, and then we need to add in some additional amount for shipping. So let's just go in here to see, we have some rough rules of thumb, and I'll leave a link to this profit calculator. We would definitely need to ship this ocean because it is quite heavy. So let's say this thing it'd be roughly 5 kilograms. So that's gonna be $3 alone in ocean shipment. And then it's probably gonna be another $1 or $2 to get it from the port into Amazon. So we're probably talking about $5. And if we go plug that in here, so we had 5 plus 12, 17, calculate profit. All right, so at that rate, actually, we would not even be profitable before you factor in any PPC costs or any additional storage fees or anything else. So this is definitely not off to a good start. There is a possibility or potential that it's going to be less than what I'm estimating here. Maybe if we shipped an entire container full of these, the shipping costs would go down. Maybe the quotes that we were seeing on Alibaba maybe these rolls would be closer to like the 50 cent or 75 cent amount. But I'd say this product so far is not off to a good start. My initial predictions are now going to be that we can't actually make this profitable, or the margins aren't going to be good enough that we would want to try to go after it. So the exam table paper just went from being a top contender to me being very skeptical about it. And before I forget, I like to keep all of my notes right inside of the product tracker, as you guys know. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just make a note of this real quickly, like rough profitability equals bad break even or lose money. So this one's, like I said, not off to a good start. Let's take a look now, though, at the trifold poster boards. All right, so I'm gonna do the extension again, and we want to figure out what kind of pack we want to do. All right, and what sizes. So it's like a 24 pack. Let's see which ones of these are selling best. Let's see, it looks like this is actually just a single one from what I can tell. 6-pack. So it looks like the 6-packs go for about 30 bucks. The singles go for about 14, 15 for the bigger ones. This is a 24-pack. Let's for now price out the 6-pack. We'd have to look at this a little bit more, but let's get started here. Whoops. So I'm going to go to the 6-pack. I'm going to click on the net. And as you see, since this product is quite large, it's an oversized product that even with the $30 product price, the Amazon fees are going to be quite high, $15.97, which is only going to leave us $14 net. That being said, I'm guessing that these are going to be relatively inexpensive. So I think the rough numbers will at least work out fine here. Now, this is a product that it's pretty darn difficult to find a comparable product price on Alibaba, but just through browsing, after browsing through here for a few minutes, I'm guessing that it's going to be about 50 cents to maybe $1 to make one of these trifold poster boards. So let's see, if we split the difference there, 75 cents, we'll do 75 cents times a 6-pack, $4.50. So the profit for this one's gonna be much better. If that was the case, it'd be $9.50 profit off $4.50 product costs. Now, I didn't include any shipping in there yet. These are obviously gonna be lighter than those giant paper rolls, but just for rough estimate purposes, let's say it costs, let's actually even just round up a little bit more. Even if we were up to $7, that would still be about 100% ROI. So for the $7 investment in our product, we're making $7 of profit. So this one seems to be a lot more feasible. Since I now see that it is pretty feasible, a way that I can take it to the next level, more in-depth product cost research, would be to plug it into our calculator over here. So this is actually, I was going to say $30. FOB price, very difficult to guess right now, right? Because we can't find any ones that are quite comparable. We're probably going to have to do some emailing. But let's do $5 because that's my best guess right now. For freight costs, we have some rough rules of thumb over on the right-hand side, which are so I would be shipping this ocean since it's quite heavy. So let's go back and let's take a look at the weight. Again, I can just click on net, 10.8 pounds. Let's convert that. It's about 5 kilograms. So we're gonna do 5 kilograms times 0.6 is $3. It's actually, I bet, gonna be significantly less than that because I know you could fit a lot of these in a container. We'll probably end up getting a whole container. And then the LTL would be a quarter times 12 pounds. So for that one, $3. So here we're estimating landed cost quite a bit higher, but I'm actually pretty confident it's not going to be that high. But let's go ahead and roll with this right now, see what happens. Total FBA fees, $15.97. PPC fees, I already have in here. I do 5% times the sales price. Historically, that's about how much I spend. So if that's the case, our profit would be quite a bit lower. However, for this one, I'm actually pretty confident that we're overestimating here. So this is why it is difficult to figure out kind of like the true costs just from using kind of like these rough rule of thumbs or from using, you know, like what you're estimating these products to cost. All right. So for this one, I actually feel confident enough that we can make it profitable and that it would be profitable, that I would like to go ahead and move forward getting estimated costs or getting quotes from factories, because I won't know for sure until one, I get quotes from factories, and two, I get quotes for shipping, because those are going to be the big differences there, right? Now let's go through the same process for our yard signs, our yard stakes. So I'm starting off with the extension as just a rough guideline. For this particular one, I'm going to do it a little bit differently because I think if I were to sell this, I spoke about this a little bit during the product research section, I think I would try to sell one that fit inside of the standard size tier, okay? So what I can do is I can organize by tier inside of the extension, and I can take one of these that are in this. S standard stands for small standard, L standard is large standard. And I'm gonna look for one that's close to the maximum dimensions. So it's 14 by 18 by something. So this one right here is actually gonna be pretty close. A pound, that seems like it would be about right. So let's go over and see, this would be it right here. All right, so this would be in the correct category. This would be approximate weight and size if I were to put, say, like 3 of these together. One of my competitors was selling at $19.99, so I'd probably need to do a similar price or maybe even a hair cheaper since mine's a little bit smaller. So let's try $18.99. And the product costs, I was browsing around, you know, they vary quite a bit on Alibaba, but you know, these would be a little bit smaller than kind of normal or what's most typical. And yeah, so I think most of my estimates would be on the lower end. You know, you never know for sure until you start asking for real quotes. But if these are $50 to $2.50 a piece, you know, maybe it would be closer to the $1 end. So let's say if we did a 3-pack, that'd be $3. Let's throw in another, let's say $1 for shipping. What would that work out as? $4 for our product cost. And if that were the case, it would be quite profitable. For every $4 we invested in a product, we made $8. It might end up being a little bit more than that, but regardless, there seems like there's plenty of room for margin for this particular product. So let's actually hop in here and do it a little bit closer. So the FOB price, we were guessing it was going to be $3.50 with packaging. Freight cost, let me actually see if I can get a better estimate of what this would weigh. So I found this one. This one would probably be pretty similar. It weighs 3 pounds. So for freight cost, let's say we're using ocean, $0.6 per kilogram, so it would be about $1. Domestic shipping, let's see, 3 pounds, that would be 75 cents. So our landed cost, $5.25. FBA fees. So let's see, it's standard size, but it's a little bit heavier. So let's see if we could find one that is large standard, but weighs closer to 3 pounds. I don't see any. This one's a little bit closer. But what we can do is we can take this and we can round up a little bit. So we said it'd be around $18.99. That means that our FBA fees would be $7.03. So let's just round up to $7.50. For my PPC fees, historically I've always spent about 5% of the sales price on PPC. Now, we'll get into this more later, but not every sale is going to be a sale for PPC. So the PPC sales, the advertising cost of sales quite a bit higher than 5%, but as a total blended rate for all of my sales, it usually works out to be about 5%. Sale price, we need to adjust to $18.99. Okay. So this is saying that before taking into account the startup costs, that, I'm investing, so I have to pay out of pocket about $5.25 to land one of these at Amazon. And for everyone that sells, I'm going to make $5.29 in profit. So that means every $5 that I'm investing, I'm getting, all my money back plus $5 more. It's like 100% return on investment, which that's really good. If that's usually my goal, so if it works out to be that way, I would be pretty happy. Let me talk a little bit about the startup costs. Okay, so these would be all the costs that we are incurring just to get started. So these aren't ongoing fees, but this is what it takes to kind of like launch this product or get it started. And I'll kind of walk you through each one real quick. The values that we have in here are going to be rough ballparks of what it's going to cost. On average, samples usually cost about 50 or 60 bucks. And the primary reason for that is because they have to ship them to you. So like if you live in China, you can usually get free samples, but if they have to send them like DHL to you, they usually charge you like 50 bucks. Photography, you can do it yourself. If you choose not to do it yourself, you can quickly get some pricing from the Jungle Scout Market. If you go in here, just go into photography. Let's look at product photography. And you can browse around at different packages. Of course, there's different packages at different rates, and depends if you want lifestyle imagery or just like your normal photos. We have in here 250 bucks, which that would probably cover like some high quality normal photos and maybe 1 or 2 lifestyle images thrown in there, but that would normally just be like pretty high quality pictures, but they'll have a white background. Any design works, that's like any little imagery put on top of your photos. Sometimes you'll have it, sometimes you won't, sometimes it'll cost more, but I think that's fine. For the giveaway, this is a much harder value to calculate. What I'm talking about here is, let's go into Keyword Scout. I'm gonna look at yard signs. And what this is in order to rank well for yard sales, or yard signs, we'll talk about this more in the launch section. Jungle Scout recommends that we would need to do a giveaway of about 5 units per day for about 10 to 15 days. Now, when you do those, we're calling them giveaways, but it's like deeply discounted products. You usually like break even on the Amazon fees, or maybe even lose a little bit of money on the Amazon fees. And then like you lose all the money essentially on the costs. And I'm not gonna go real deep into that, but let's just pretend that I have to do 5 giveaways per day like it's talking about. They're costing me $5.25, plus there is $7.50 of Amazon fees. So that is $12.75. Say I sell this, or deeply discount this to like $2, $3, $4, I'm probably losing like $10 on each sale. And let's say I have to do that for 10 days. So for 10 days, I'm losing $50 per day, which would be $500 in this particular example. In real life, it probably wouldn't work out to be quite that much, but if we want to be conservative, we could put that in. For this particular product, it's not as competitive, so I could probably, realistically, it'd probably be more like $300 or $400. Let's do $400. And then other just miscellaneous fees that you'd be experiencing to get this thing off the ground. So, we don't know the final costs associated with, especially the product right now. We're going to get that once we start contacting our factories, but it looks like this is probably the best opportunity of the different ones that I looked at. So, I'd have to pay about $840 to get this product off the ground to get it started on Amazon. For each unit I'm ordering, it would cost me around $5.25 to get it to Amazon's warehouse. But for each one that I sell, I'll be making $5.29 in profit, which is pretty solid. So that is how I go about thinking about how to calculate my costs and my budgeting for launching a new product. This is about as good as you can get at this phase. So I'm not going to choose exactly which product I want to sell yet, because I want to start getting back some quotes from different factories. For me, that's kind of like step one. I'll then see a little bit more, maybe I overestimated some of these and underestimated others. So maybe it will change which product I think is the best. At that point, I would go ahead and get a real shipping quote so I know exact shipping costs. And really, it's at that point that you can put all of your real final costs inside of the spreadsheet and know for sure how much money you can make from selling one of these products. And it's at that point that I decide for sure exactly which product I'm going to choose and which product I would want to sell on Amazon. So as a quick recap, this is how I go about estimating the rough costs. I first like to just use the FBA profit calculator inside of the extension. Remember, to get there, you just click on the net. That's already going to factor in the correct FBA fees for that particular category using the sizes and weights associated with that particular product. After that, if you want to take it a little bit to the next level, you can use the budget and profit calculator. After that, if you want to get more accurate than that, it's time to get real quotes from factories as well as a real quote for shipping. There's a few different online shipping calculators. The easiest way that I've found probably to get real shipping prices is to use something called Freightos. Freightos is a company that you can kind of think of as like an Expedia or Travelocity or something for freight forwarders. So you put your information in here. This specific one's actually built just for Amazon shipments. You put in the origin, where it'd be coming from, the destination, a few pieces of information there, and then you search for real quotes for that particular shipment, okay? So this is how you can get a real shipping quote. Of course, we can get a real quote from the factory by contacting them. And then after doing that, that's when we can crunch the numbers one more time, make sure that the numbers make sense and that we can make a good profit on this particular product before moving forward with it.